AYV Television.
Good evening and welcome to State of the Nation. Today, Wednesday, 26th of August, 2026. I am Omar Fofana. We are live with you on AYV Television, radio, and online. Talking about online, here's an important announcement. Following our program last week, we published a story on our website about the declaration by ONS of the Dutch fugitive Jos Lydekkers as wanted. Jos is also said to have a Sierra Leonean passport with the name Omar Sharif. Shortly after the publication, our website was hacked in the most violent manner. Our engineers in the UK are still assessing the details, but the initial report is that the hackers were highly sophisticated to have been able to breach our system, and are people who would only work for rich clients. We are still unable to access our websites and our app. We consider this a serious affront against press freedom, and the attack is akin to a physical one, which makes us feel at risk. We hope to make a formal complaint about it to media freedom organizations in and out of Sierra Leone and to the national authorities when the investigations are concluded. But back to today. Coming up in the next 90 minutes, the United States ambassador designate to Sierra Leone has apparently told a congressional hearing that the Millennium Challenge Corporation grant of nearly $500 million will be predicated on access to the country's critical minerals. Will the government agree to an exclusive U.S. claim to our mineral wealth? We talk to the Minister of Information. Also, we ask whether there is a democracy deficit within the APC and the SLPP amid internal complaints and accusations of an overreach against their respective leaderships. We talk to their Secretaries General. And we delve into the National Sport Authority. Created to help develop sport in the country, they stand accused of being an avoidable financial burden on the state. We talk to the two former sports ministers, one of whom is currently heading the authority. Stay with us. It's almost 1 year since Brian Hunt resigned as the United States ambassador to Sierra Leone in September last year. On the 1st June this year, President Donald Trump appointed a career diplomat, Daniel Travis, as Hunt's successor. Before his appointment, Travis had held diplomatic postings in Hungary, Poland, Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, and Congo-Brazzaville, where he served as Deputy Chief of Mission and Chargé d'Affaires. Most recently, he was the director of the Office of Commercial and Economic Affairs in the Bureau of African Affairs. That last posting is worth keeping in mind because when he appeared for his confirmation hearing before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee early this month, he appeared to be very big on business transactions as the basis of his diplomatic ethos. Here is what he told the senators.
Chairman Risch, Ranking Member Shaheen, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I'm honored by the trust President Trump and Secretary Rubio has placed in me. Chairman Risch, Ranking Member Shaheen, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I'm honored by the trust President Trump and Secretary Rubio has placed in me with this nomination, and I'm deeply grateful for my family for their support and willingness to take on this challenge alongside me. First and foremost, I want to thank my family. My wife, Kasia, who's here with me today, and our children, Magdalena and Jason, for their unwavering support over my 25 years of service to the United States. Since joining the Foreign Service September 10th, 2001, they have accompanied me at postings in 7 countries across 3 continents. Without them, I would not be here. The United States is resetting its relationship with Africa. We are moving away from aid and dependency toward trade, investment, and mutual benefit. Sierra Leone is a place where that vision can deliver real results, and if confirmed, I intend to make that happen. Sierra Leone matters to American interests in concrete ways. It holds critical minerals essential to American manufacturing and national security. It has significant American commercial investment in telecommunications, energy, and mining, and more specifically, is poised to become a significant destination for U.S. LNG exports through the DFC-backed NANT Energy Project. Additionally, as the outgoing chair of ECOWAS, Sierra Leone's leadership in the region is more consequential than ever at a time when competition for economic, strategic, and diplomatic influence in West Africa is intensifying. The foundation for a stronger partnership is already being built. American companies have invested over $500 million in Sierra Leone's economy, and we maintain a healthy trade surplus. A landmark health agreement signed under the American First Global Health Security Strategy is protecting both Americans and Sierra Leoneans' lives while demanding accountability and co-investment from Sierra Leone, fostering a freedom from dependency. And a pipeline of American-led projects such as agreement between Acro Corporation of Pennsylvania to design and build a bridge across the Sierra Leone River connecting Freetown with its international airport has the potential to generate hundreds of millions of dollars in U.S. exports and cement American leadership in Sierra Leone's economic future. The administration engages Sierra Leone as a capable commercial partner with shared interests, not as an aid recipient. The U.S. uses direct diplomacy and expects Sierra Leone to take American strategic and commercial priorities seriously in return. When governance falls short and American interests are affected, I will raise these concerns directly and privately with the Sierra Leonean leadership. That is the basis of a productive relationship and is the approach I will bring to Freetown. If confirmed, the welfare of American citizens, our commercial diplomacy, and our development investments in Sierra Leone, particularly in public health, will be my top priorities. I will work to close transformational deals, open doors for American companies, and ensure that Sierra Leone's energy, infrastructure, and mineral sectors are shaped by an American investment, not by our competitors who play by their own rules. I will use the full range of U.S. government tools available, including MCC compacts, DFC investment, and bilateral engagement to advance reform that benefits American businesses. I'm clear-eyed about these challenges. Competition for influence in Sierra Leone is real and intensifying. Governance challenges persist, and the resources available to American diplomacy are finite. But I believe that when U.S. diplomacy aligns with private sector opportunity and a clear sense of American interests, we can deliver results that no other partner can match. If confirmed, I will give this assignment, our commercial priorities, the welfare of American citizens, and our development investment in Sierra Leone, everything I have.
That was the United States Ambassador Designate to Sierra Leone, Daniel Travis. I'm joined now by the Minister of Information and Government Spokesperson, Cherno Bah. Mr. Bah, thank you. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us.
First of all, let me say congratulations to you for this incredible platform.
Thank you.
And to the AYV family as well. It's a real honor to be here.
Thank you very much. So what will be your summation of Travis's speech to the senators?
I think any Sierra Leonean who listened to that, and I'm very grateful that you've actually played it all, a good part of it for people to hear, we'll come to a very simple conclusion. America sees Sierra Leone the same way we see the U.S., strategic partners. It's a country of opportunities. They want to continue to deepen their investments in Sierra Leone and their partnership because we have laid the foundation for American investments in Sierra Leone. Their investments are based on what he said, values. They are based on alignments, opportunities for American businesses. They are based on the fact that we have a level of stability in the country. And they have metrics that they use to measure. He was involved, for example, in MCC, and he said it himself. When they did the review of the MCC, and we said the same thing here when it was happening, and they looked at alignments, what countries had done, Sierra Leone emerged #1 among all the countries in Africa that they reviewed. I think the sum total of what you just listened to left with a simple impression that we're not doing so bad, and that we have countries, major powers, like the United States, who are willing to do business with us. That's something to be proud of.
What he also says is that there will no longer be free lunches. So even the MCC, which we had thought would come to us after having gone through all the benchmarks they established, would not come as a free lunch anymore. It's going to be like a quid pro quo.
But I don't think the MCC was ever a free lunch, sir. I think the MCC was always, as you said, based on, again, certain benchmarks. That's why we needed to continue to pass to meet those benchmarks, and it's part of a broader American package. Since the election of President Donald Trump, he's made clear that all American foreign intervention and foreign money that they spend will be tied to benchmarks that benefit Americans and benefit American businesses. They want to see alignments. They want to see everything that they do as a package. We've understood that. President Biyo has ensured that our foreign policy and our interaction with the United States was taking those into consideration, which is why we've continued to qualify, which is why we're happy that they're pursuing MCC, and not just MCC, but he's mentioned major additional projects. NANT, which will be the biggest private sector investments in the energy sector in the country.
Is that part of what the MCC was meant towards anyway?
No, that's separate. That's DFC investments. But they are complementary. But that's private sector investments into the energy sector in the country. That's something that he mentioned. And then there are other truly revolutionary projects that we've been pursuing in this country for years, that we've been engaging the American partners. I think he did let the cat a little bit out of the bag. We're happy about that. I think people are talking about the fact that we've been in conversations with them to pick up as well on the Lunga project.
Critical minerals, what do they mean in this case?
I mean, I'm not going to be able to give you the technical definition of what critical minerals are, but what I can tell you...
Do diamonds qualify as such?
No.
Does the iron ore qualify as such?
Not necessarily.
I hear we have lithium somewhere, which they're interested
Exactly. So not those ones you just mentioned. There are additional minerals that are particularly, as he said, useful, for example, for national security, and where major powers are competing for access and control over those minerals. It is believed that Sierra Leone has some deposits of these minerals, and America is pursuing these kinds of deals. I think what is important in the conversation on critical minerals is it's not that we're entering into any partnership with a country that says all our critical minerals belong to you. It's like each country wants to be front of the queue. And America is saying, look, we want to put our money where our mouth is. We want to show that, look, we care about Sierra Leone. We believe in, Sierra Leone as a destination for American businesses. And we also know we can gain some things from Sierra Leone, including the deposits of critical minerals that you have. All what they want is to be front of the queue. And that's something that we're negotiating, and we believe that whatever agreements we sign will be in the best interest of the people of Sierra Leone.
Will that agreement, should we sign it, will it mean that the $480 million that was supposed to come to us under the MCC agreement would sort of come in exchange for us giving them critical minerals, or just for them to have the advantage of being the ones who will be awarded the contract?
I don't think it's fair to look at it as a direct quid pro quo or as part of the same agreement. I think you should see them as separate but complementary. What the Americans, I think, are not shy about is that any country where they're making their investments in, they want to make sure that they're getting something out of that investment. And what they mean is, we want favorable agreements. We want to be in partnership with you for things that, for example, that we're competing with others. And Sierra Leone is one of the biggest recipients of American foreign money, and it's not aid anymore, right? It's private sector investments through DFC, largest per capita in Africa.
Right.
Sierra Leone is the largest recipient of American money from the private sector angle. The MCC, as he said, we emerged first on all the countries that were reviewed, and we also have close to $500 million investment from the MCC. So what the Americans are saying is that, look, the continuation of all of these projects is somehow, we would like that to be linked to more and more American investments, because we want to make sure that when we have invested in stabilizing your energy sector, when private sector companies are coming into the country, we want to make sure American private sector companies are front of the queue. We welcome that race. And I think it is up to us as a country to be able to manage that race and to be able to ensure that, yes, we keep the fullness of our friendship around the world, and we ensure that the people of Sierra Leone are the prime beneficiaries. That's our target, that President Bill's target, that the people of Sierra Leone, this country, benefits from these kinds of partnerships and these relationships that we're seeing.
You are making this commitment that when it gets to that, the government of Sierra Leone will not allow the Americans to surcharge the country by sort of like reducing their whatever they're going to pay for our minerals, our critical minerals, because they're giving us $480 million under the MCC.
Absolutely, 100% commitment. I can tell you that the critical minerals agreement has been in. We've been discussing this for over a year. We've been negotiating very hard. I can tell you that the people in that room, and I am privileged to be in that team, we've gone back and forth. It's gone in cabinets back and forth, and we're, the chief minister, our foreign minister, the one that's coming in, the minister of mines, the AG, and we've also even, been willing to engage external partners.
What are you negotiating over if we don't know what the critical minerals are and where they are, if they are there?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I say we're not giving away anything. The thrust of the conversation is they believe, we know, we believe as well, that we do have some critical minerals in Sierra Leone. All Americans want in this conversation is that they want to be front of the queue. So once you have critical minerals, we want American businesses to be front of the queue. So to be able to negotiate first. And that's a great thing for our country.
It could happen that there will be no need to get the agreement if it turns out that we don't have these critical minerals.
No, the agreement will supersede. The agreement is going to come before the fullness of. Look, we do have some critical minerals. I think any explorer, any serious analysis will say that Sierra Leone is a basin for some critical minerals. Now, where they are, the extent of them and all of that, we do not know. So part of the agreement and part of the work that the Minister of Mines has been doing is to ensure that we're clear on the exploration. What we're doing in this conversation with the Americans is to make sure that we have a very customized agreement that allows American investors to come into Sierra Leone, front of the queue, that's what they would like, to be able to exploit these minerals, but on the terms that we set. So it would be like, look, there could be any other company coming, but maybe the first option would be to an American or American-aligned company. If that doesn't work, we retain the right to engage other companies. And again, just because it's an American company does not mean the American company is going to come and just take the minerals away. They will need to negotiate with us and pay market prices and ensure that we...
On your own terms?
The country, absolutely. The mines of this country are bestowed on the people of this country. They belong to the people of this country. You don't think
Trump's America can twist the Bill administration into kowtowing?
I always avoid these speculations and scenarios.
They may be, but it's just that we know how this power security approach happens.
Yes,
you see what I mean?
But I can assure you, Mr. Fofana, that the government of President Julius Maada Bio is putting in place the right mechanisms, the right steps, and it's not just with this agreement. We are exporting other critical minerals at this moment. We are engaged with other international partners in every and all minerals agreements. What we seek to do, what this government is committing to the people of Sierra Leone, is that we'll prioritize the best interests of the people of this country, and that whatever deals we enter into will benefit first and foremost the people of Sierra Leone.
Right, and one other thing which the ambassador-designate said during the question and answer session before the senators was, he actually mentioned China. And at present, I would imagine that the Chinese are also here looking for those critical minerals and exploring other areas to see what happens. And in view of relations between Beijing and Freetown, you don't think this might anger Washington?
No, look, I think for people who pay attention to the geopolitics, there's a difference between the rhetorics and also the reality. One of China's biggest trading partners is the United States. So forget about what you hear at the Senate hearing and the red meat that is thrown, and that's why when one or some people try to take one line from one Democratic senator and make it the entire news when there was actually substantive news here, that means either you don't fully understand the context of American politics, or you're trying to skew this in one way or the other. Major American companies are investing in China and vice versa. China is doing business with everybody in the world.
But that's
America is doing
different from
business
when
with
they
everybody in
both
the world.
have an interest in a particular country.
But I think in this case, it is our responsibility to make sure that we benefit from that competition. Americans are capitalists. If it's a competition, what we want to do is to get the best deal for the people of this country. We're not beholden to any one country in particular. We are non-aligned. That's always been our historical position. If the Americans come with the best deal, we'll take it. If the Chinese come with the best deal, we'll take it, as long as it benefits the people of this country. That's been the posture of President Bio, and that's going to be going forward.
So one thing before you go, he mentioned the issue of the Lunga Bridge. What's your understanding of that? Is it that the Americans will sort of fund the construction of the bridge, or is it that they will benefit from that bridge when it's constructed?
It's both. The idea is that we're seeking a private sector investment from the United States to construct that bridge, finally, to bring it to fruition. And then what we've always argued is that the construction of such a bridge would be fantastic for economic opportunities for the country and for investors. Again, what the Americans are arguing there, what they're saying, what the ambassador designate was saying, is he wants American companies to be front of the line. If Sierra Leone is about to be open in the kind of way that the bridge will make this country open, Sierra Leone is about to be ripe for international investments with the kind of investment that they are making right now in the energy sector and the stability that we've continued to enjoy, the investments we've made in human capital development, then he believes that Sierra Leone is going to be even more ripe for foreign investors. And they want American companies to be front of the queue. And one way they want to secure that advantage is to ensure that whatever deal, because building that bridge is going to cost some money, it's going to be some kind of deal. And again, Americans are no longer in the business of aid. They want to make it a strategic business investment. What he said is that the government has been in that negotiation for a while now, and he's hopeful that very soon that will be something that the people of Sierra Leone will celebrate. We are hopeful as well.
Finally, are you chuffed by him, or are you sort of like cautiously optimistic?
Look, whoever the American government selects as their ambassador is the entire prerogative of the Americans. We will work with anybody that is selected. I think from what he said, it seems like he has very positive views of our country, and I would say very fair views. We're excited by the opportunity to have such a distinguished foreign service professional. I think by all accounts from all the senators is that he's a distinguished career professional to come to our country, and for someone like that to be selected to Sierra Leone again is an indication of where America ranks our country. It's good for all of us.
Mr. Minister, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. That was Sharon Obah, Minister of Information and Civic Education. You're watching and listening to State of the Nation on AYV television, radio, and online with me, Umaru Fofana. Still to come, is there a democracy deficit within the country's two oldest political parties? And is the National Sports Authority a financial burden on the state or a developer of sports in Sierra Leone? Stay tuned. Every day, our nation faces questions that demand answers. What is happening in Sierra Leone? What is the context? Who is being heard and who is being ignored? What does it mean for you, your family, and for the future of Sierra Leone? Behind the headlines are the real stories of the everyday people. Some are being heard, others are being ignored. Because a nation deserves to know more than just the headlines. This is where we ask the tough questions and give analysis that liberate. Join us on State of the Nation on AYV across all our platforms. With me, Umaru Fofana. Every day, our nation faces questions that demand answers. What is happening in Sierra Leone? What is the context? Who is being heard and who is being ignored? What does it mean for you, your family, and for the future of Sierra Leone? Behind the headlines are the real stories of the everyday people. Some are being heard, others are being ignored. Because a nation deserves to know more than just the headlines. This is where we ask the tough questions and give analysis that liberates. Join us on State of the Nation on AYV across all our platforms. With me, Umaru Fofana. Every day, our nation faces questions that demand answers. What is happening in Sierra Leone? What is the context? Who is being heard and who is being ignored? What does it mean for you, your family, and for the future of Sierra Leone? Behind the headlines are the real stories of the everyday people. Some are being heard, others are being ignored. Because a nation deserves to know more than just the headlines. This is where we ask the tough questions and give analysis that liberates. Join us on State of the Nation on AYV across all our platforms. With me, Umaru Fofana.
AYV is your home of credible, factual, and balanced news coverage. We pride ourselves as the nation's most trusted news source. Because of this, our brand is likely to be used to spread fake news. To verify our stories, please check our various social media pages, visit our website on www.ayvnews.com, or send us an email to info@ayvnews.com.
Every day, our nation faces questions that demand answers. What is happening in Sierra Leone? What is the context? Who is being heard and who is being ignored? What does it mean for you, your family, and for the future of Sierra Leone? Behind the headlines are the real stories of the everyday people. Some are being heard, others are being ignored. Because a nation deserves to know more than just the headlines. This is where we ask the tough questions and give analysis that liberates. Join us on State of the Nation on AYV across all our platforms. With me, Umaru Fofana. Every day, our nation faces questions that demand answers. What is happening in Sierra Leone? What is the context? Who is being heard? Every day, our nation faces questions that demand answers. What is happening in Sierra Leone? What is the context? Who is being heard and who is being ignored? What does it mean for you, your family, and for the future of Sierra Leone? Behind the headlines are the real stories of the everyday people. Some are being heard, others are being ignored. Because a nation deserves to know more than just the headlines. This is where we ask the tough questions and give analysis that liberate. Join us on State of the Nation on AYV across all our platforms. With me, Omar Fofana. Across all our platforms. With me, Omar Fofana. Now, there has been some disquiet recently over issues happening in Sierra Leone's two main political parties, the ruling SLPP and the main opposition APC. It follows what some members say is an overreach by the leaderships of both parties, with a view to unduly influencing the outcome of the election of their standard bearer for the 2028 presidential poll. In a moment, we will look at the APC party, but in the case of the ruling SLPP party, their national chairman, Jimmy Batilo Songa, made a statement at a meeting with party constituency chairmen recently, which triggered a tornado of reaction from party stalwarts. This is part of what Batilo said.
So if we want for better, as chairman then, one of the message we are giving now, I want me, nobody not take side right now. No, nobody not take side, but anybody go or talk to you about the ambition, now listen. Yeah? But when I know say we all get a central command. Article 60, 1, subsection 1B, verse 1A, clearly give the political leadership to one great person inside this party. When His Excellency the President, Julius Maada Bio. He say in the political leader of the party, now he give political direction. When I see what he don't do in this country, no so. Yes. When I don't see what he don't do for West Africa again, not so. Himself get or go. But we as a party will therefore give with life to them. He therefore bring word to me. They're not a word no more. And we own a Christian then we believe in the commandment no so. Maada Bio therefore bring that commandment to assassin Abu. They count a name. They say, thou shalt be. Thou shalt be. That name they say. And when that name they come to me, for that count now, Now the commandment they come. And the other thou, Mr. go say, thou shalt follow this way. Not so. Thou shalt follow this way. And who is that way? The leader knows so. I make we say, follow the leader. Stick to the plan and follow the leader. And who is the leader? President Bio knows so. So I want to know that then I want you, I want to go. Anybody go to now? When I listen to her. When I hear you they say, you understand? Will I not be any battle to anybody. But we party will not declare it when they go. But some man and they go under. Will not go drive them. Time the cow they declare proper. Yeah?
That was Jimmy Batilo Songa, national chairman of the ruling SLPP. One of those who took to social media to vent out his disapproval was a party stalwart, Boima Vijay Boima.
Today, Adonaya, for express my dissatisfaction over a very serious statement where they come up from the national chairman of the SLPP. I want for let we understand, say the national chairman, Sir Jimmy Batilo Songa, now we own chairman, now we campaign for him, now we fight for him, and we know there no regret for stand behind him, for let continue for being the national party chairman. But we say the national chairman, they make mistake. Now we duty for call them to order. The SLPP, as a political party, does not belong to any group of individual. It is not a personal property of anybody. It belongs to the people of Sierra Leone. Now I made a call on the Sierra Leone People's Party. I watched the video na TikTok. We say the national chairman call all the constituency chairman them. And I follow all the statements from the beginning of the video to the end. But what thing draw me attention for that come publicly and call that statement to order. Now when the chairman tell the constituency chairman and say how they as constituency chairman, they not for support anybody at this moment. He also go further for say, he say they for wait, let the leader of the party tell them which direction they for go. Then they all go follow suit. No, Mr. Chairman, the SLPP is a democratic political institute. The SLPP belongs to each and every grassroots member of the SLPP. Not to one person get the SLPP. President Biona will leader, but not to index the Sierra Leone People's Party. For let you tell me say the constituency chairman, the way we elect, they for wait, and they don't for go no side. No, it is a stamp on the rights of those constituency chairmen. Then constituency chairman, then they determine the grassroots base of the party. They run the political party, but not check among themselves. Not check in government parastatals. How many of these constituency chairmen have you people appointed in prominent positions? How many of these constituency chairmen are playing key roles in their respective district? How many of these constituency chairmen are even playing key roles in the national decision making of our government? But yet when election they come, now the time they call them the party office, then we instruct them what for do. It is a disservice. We need to look back into history. The SLPP, not a dictatorship party, the SLPP is a democratic party. Therefore, the statement where the national chairman make, say, we for wait, let the leadership of the party decide on which road we want to go. No, it is wrong. The SLPP members, the delegates them, now they get the decision for make, now they for decide who that for lead the SLPP. If President Bio, as a leader of the SLPP, impose anybody or we for say, now this policy I want, therefore all man for vote for them, and that policy they win, they go win conventional, but it not go win national election.
Well, to help us talk through this controversy and the general internal democratic credentials of the ruling SLPP is its National Secretary General, Paran Tarawale. Thank you very much for joining us, Honorable.
Thank you very much.
Do you understand with the frustration in that's your party members' voice and mood?
He's a member of the party, and therefore he has every right to vent out issues that are not pleasing to him.
But do you understand why he seems and sounds so angry?
Well, probably he might have understood what the chairman said in his own way. So because of that, yes.
What would you say the chairman meant by the commandment and the fact that they would take orders only from the leader of the party?
Okay, so Jimmy Bati Losonga is the duly elected chairman of the SLPP, and therefore I will expect that whatever he says is a policy statement. This notwithstanding, well, probably I might say some of us as party members are taking his statement out of context, because throughout what he said, I've listened to the audio over and over again. I've not heard him quote President Bio directly.
So was he speaking on his own accord?
Yeah, he was indeed.
And would you say he was saying the correct thing?
No, he wasn't saying the correct thing.
So you're distancing yourself as a party from what he said?
No, well, I will not say we are distancing ourselves.
Sort of like that. If he said what he was saying was on his own accord.
No, I will not say we are distancing ourselves, because the party has not taken an official position. But what I will say is, in as much as the chairman said what he said, he didn't quote the president directly.
Do you regret that he said that?
Well, he should be regretting and not me.
Yeah, but he's your leader. So are you disappointed that he said what he said?
He's the party chairman, and what he said probably because he knew why he was saying that. But as Secretary General, I know we have not taken a position as a party, and I will definitely let Sierra Leoneans know that President Bio will never communicate such a message to anybody.
Because if Jimmy Batilo Songa knew exactly what the president said, Parent Rally also knew it. Because if President Bio, as leader of the party, wants to communicate anything directly to the party, he will call the chairman and the secretary general. And I couldn't recall that in any of our meetings with the leader, he communicated anything around him probably being the coronator of the next flag bearer. I still could recall that time without number, he has said to us that this is a party, it is democratic, and therefore the next flag bearer will be chosen by the delegates.
You, President Madabio, is your party leader. Do you know whether he was disappointed when he saw this video himself?
Really, I have not spoken to him. Remember, he's on holidays, so I have not spoken to him yet. But trust me, within the next 24 hours, I'll try to get onto him and to get a clearer picture. But I am convinced, and I know that he might not have said anything of such to anybody.
I mean, this speech by Batilo came on the back of a cabinet reshuffle, which some have read the flag bearer intent in, namely two of those who had apparently expressed their interest to lead the party in 2028 were sacked, the finance minister and the foreign minister. It seems like a chronology of events pointing towards the fact that, or the assumption that President Bill wants to impose his own candidate on the party.
Now, look, you see, the Constitution gives the president the clear authority to hire and fire.
Absolutely. Things trigger his decisions, though.
So nobody can question his decision to hire and fire.
Absolutely.
So because we cannot question his decision to hire and fire, I may not want to clearly comment on the fact that he fired certain people because we conjecture that they might not be his favorite. What I do know, President Bio has a democratic credential, both intra-party and outside the party, nationally. He has demonstrated this, and we all as Sierra Leoneans know this clearly. Within the party, he has told us time without number that it is the people who have to decide on the next flag bearer. He has not said this indoors. He has said this in public. He has said this in Freetown. He said it in Kenima when we had our retreat. He said it in Bo. He said it in Pujong. So 4 times President Bio has openly informed the party that the next flag bearer will be chosen by the people themselves.
And when will that be?
Very soon. You know, our constitution is clear. I know that anytime between March and April
of next
year will definitely convey the entire party delegates and will decide on who takes over.
That's in just about 6 months. So why aren't people who have the intentions to run being allowed to come out and do so?
No, nobody has muzzled them. Everybody is free. They are all around the place. They are stakeholders. They are moving. They are talking to people.
Is it a coincidence that they are not as open about what they do as, for example, the APC aspirants are?
No, for me, I know they are very open about what they do. Because you see social media posts, you see videos of would-be flag-bearer aspirants within the SLPP crisscrossing the country and bringing together delegates who have to vote during the forthcoming delegates elections, and they are canvassing their votes. I've seen a lot of such guys going around the country and canvassing those votes.
Such as?
So nobody's muzzled.
Do we know anybody you've seen that is campaigning openly amongst members of your party?
Yeah, I've seen many people campaigning. And,
like?
I've seen Alhaji Musa Tarawali.
He's not a minister. So
no, okay,
he's a freelancer.
So okay, you're talking about cabinet.
Right.
Well, for me, it has to do with how they feel about it. But I'm not sure there is any rule.
Is it a coincidence that the ones we hear, and I'm saying this cautiously, or whose intents are apparent but not quite there, are not doing so openly? Is it a coincidence, or is there some edict that has been issued to them not to?
No, there is no ruling issued to them. I'm the National Secretary General of the party. I head the secretariat, and whatever communication comes from the leader comes through me. So that is why I will always tell people the most potent communication from the party will come through the Secretary General, and then it will be copied to the chairman. So as far as I know, there is no moratorium on, canvassing, and nobody is muzzled for holding a view that he or she wants to, take over from President Bio.
What does your party say about national executive position holders who side with one aspirant or another?
Okay, so in this constitution, thank God I brought the constitution. In this constitution, which is the Sierra Leone People's Party constitution, there is nothing, no clause that states that people cannot side with one flag bearer or the other. This is a party, and in a party, everybody has the right, to identify with one person or the other because you believe in that person's project and that kind of thing. So there is nothing in that constitution that tells office bearers that they cannot side with one person or the other. However, having said this, I am quite convinced that it's not only this constitution that determines how we carry out ourselves when it comes to electioneering, especially internal electioneering within the party. We may make rules, and those rules may speak to how we comport and conduct ourselves when it is time for flag bearer elections.
So at present, it's the simple majority within the SLPP. So if you have like 10 people contesting to be at the standard of your party, who gets the most votes, even if it's 40%, becomes the candidate?
Definitely, that is what our constitution says.
Do you not think there's a compelling reason to make your party constitution in tandem with the national constitution, which at present says for you to be president, you have to secure outright, you have to secure 55%. And as the amendment says, absolute majority, 50 plus 1 vote. Don't you think you should have your party constitution singing in the same hymn sheet?
Okay, so yeah, of course the national constitution is clear about that. The PPRC Act is clear about that every party's constitution should conform with the constitution.
Right.
But having said this, I'm not sure there will be anything contravening the constitution if you choose your leader. In other words, the constitution speaks to the fact that every party should maintain internal democracy, and whoever you choose as your leader should be democratically elected. So I'm not sure the constitution is very strict about, because it's 55%, the constitution calls on party to maintain 55%. What the constitution does say is that if you are electing a leader, that leader must be democratically elected. And as far as we are concerned, SLPP has the democratic credentials, both structural as well as procedural.
And, but that being said, the point, don't you think it is also expedient for you to probably have an absolute majority so that you don't have more people within your party voting against your eventual flag bearer? So if, for example, 40% of your members vote for one candidate, 60% vote for others, you have a majority voting against your flag bearer.
Okay, so yes, voting against but not directly against.
Well, they didn't vote for him.
No, they didn't, but not directly against him.
We don't prefer him. Prefer some other people.
Yeah, I agree, but it's not direct. So if I'm voting against you, I should be casting a no vote. Okay? Voting for some other person doesn't mean I'm casting a no vote against you. So as far as we are concerned, as a party, we know we have a very strong democratic culture. And this is demonstrated by the structures we have as well as the procedures we follow. And what I do know as the scribe of the party, I do know that we have a very strong constitution, and we are a party that follow the constitution to the letter.
Hand on heart, would you guarantee that the flag bearer election within your party will not be influenced by anybody, not President Bio?
It will not be influenced because President Bio is committed to ensuring that those democratic credentials that he has built for himself stand out bold. Nobody is coming to mess him up.
Would you resign your position if that's happened?
He will not do it. I know.
If there was an attempt to do it.
No, I know I'm not going to resign because President Bio will not do it.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was Paran Tarawale, National Secretary General of the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party. Many thanks for joining us now. In the APC, there has also been some disagreement over the recent decision by a party member to go to court. It all borders on the life of the current national executive of the party. The move to sue the political party's Regulation Commission and others meant that the commission could no longer act against the party executive whose extended mandate ended on the 18th of August. Dr. Richard Conte is a flag-bearer aspirant and has pulled no punches in excoriating members of his party for this move. He spoke to AYV's Wake Up Salon program.
In sections 21 and 24 of our Constitution, which talks about meetings, how we vote, and then in those discussions, they said, the last rubric in that thing, they said the term of NAC and the term of NEC they'll be dissolved at the next NDC. What these guys who are putting forward this argument are failing to realize is that all the members of NAC and NEC are elected for 3 years. And it presupposes that they will do their work within 3 years, and by the end of the 3 years, they will organize a convention. So basically I'm saying it was hoping and expecting that they will do the needful. They will do the right thing, they will respect the time limits. In section 52, which talks about tenure, it's very clear. It says, all, not some, national officers of the party shall hold office for a term of 3 years and shall be eligible for re-election for another term. And then they added, and no more. They could have stopped at for another term, full stop. But they added, and no more, for emphasis, to show that you are elected for 3 years and only 3 years. You cannot add. You can be re-elected once. You cannot add.
Okay.
What I find strange is that our people cherry pick. Let me start by stating that Suma is a member of the National Executive Committee of the party. So by virtue of his position as a district chairman, he's a member of the National Executive Committee, not the National Advisory Committee, but he's a member of the National Executive Committee. So he's affected by this. What I find strange is that this constitution is not new. It has been in place since 2022. If they knew that this constitution gave them the right to stay in office until whenever they choose to conduct an NDC, they can do it 10 years later. They can do it 5 years later.
Do you think that's what's happening?
No, I'm
Do
coming.
you think they're stalling?
I'm coming. I said if they knew that they had the liberty, based upon this provision, to stay in office indefinitely, why did they go to PPRC to beg for 6 months? Why? So when PPRC gave them 6 months, they accepted. When they saw that the 6 months was coming to an end, they got one of them to rush to the courts to say, PPRC has power to give us 6 months, but PPRC does not have power to bring an interim. So if you were saying that PPRC did very well for you to give you 6 months, why should you be annoyed to say, now leave and let an interim body take over? And the greatest sign of lack of honesty and lack of integrity is in the fact that when they were served the papers, they kept the papers away from even our legal team for over 2 months. I think the papers were served sometime in April or May. When were you served?
May.
Yeah, sometime in May. They were served sometime in May. Members of the party only knew about that sometime in late July. And for me, I think that is the highest degree of insincerity, of dishonesty to the party. And now they are going to court to say, these very people who gave us 6 months and we were happy no longer have power to interfere with our constitution.
Dr. Richard Conteh, one of the aspirants to lead the All People's Congress Party in the 2028 election. So what's going on? With me in the studio now is Abubakar Kagbo, the Assistant to the National Secretary General of the All People's Congress Party. Thank you very much, ABS, for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me.
What's happening in the party? What's going on?
Well, there's quite a lot that is happening in the party currently, but what stands out for me is the fact that we are actually conducting our elections, lower level elections.
Okay.
We've started with the wards sometimes around February 21st, to be specific, and we've also commenced some constituency elections. And you know, for me, what is happening in the APC is the fact that for the very first time, after the constitution was actually enacted, was actually taken to a national delegates conference for approval, it is now that we're actually testing it.
This is the first time that you're really doing democracy within the party in terms
exactly,
of...
Exactly.
So it's a new territory.
It's a new territory. So there's quite a lot that is happening, basically. In fact, if you look at even the issue of petitions, it's open-ended. There is no restriction. You can petition as many as you would like to petition. Say
what you're used to doing, though, is electing your national officers. That's not new. You've always been electing your national officers.
Yes,
so what is difficult about holding an election now to get your national officers?
It's difficult in the sense because you cannot do anything that is contrary to the dictates of the Constitution. I'll give an example. If you want to conduct, say for instance, a ward election, the Constitution says you have to actually bring the data to the public domain, and for members to see the data 21 days to elections. So once you do that, then obviously there are other routes, you know, people will follow to see if they want to challenge the data. Somebody will say, okay, I don't want to see Umaru Fofana in this list because it's not eligible to be there. So they can actually challenge this through the IECB.
So what's holding you up? Why can't you do that now?
No, it's not for me. I'm talking about generally. So it's ongoing. So you challenge the data. I'm just giving you actually a background as to why we're still here, because a lot of people are saying that why can't us, you know, move on to the next level? We should have actually concluded our lower level elections. But because of the same thing I was talking about, this is democracy now at play. So people will go to IECB first to challenge the data, and then we have IECB will actually look into the issue, and then, you know, if they make a judgment that people are not happy, then they have PPRC. That is not the be all and end all. PPRC and the courts. So these things were not happening before, and now they're actually unfolding. So because of that gap, you can actually put your schedule to say, I want the elections to be held at shorter dates, and you've done that. But then what happened next is democracy. So
but the PPRC came in,
yeah,
and gave you your executive a 6-month extended tenure, and they said that if that expired, you, without holding an election, would have to have a pro tem administration led by some of your party members of parliament, which your executive kicked against, apparently.
Well, I think that's hearsay to say the executive kicked against it.
Why didn't this happen? Why didn't they accept that?
I didn't see, there's no evidence before me to suggest that the executive kicked against it.
But a member of the executive went to court, apparently to stall the process.
Yeah, but when you talk about executive, let's just have this clear. Some people will say the national executive, all the blame is being actually placed squarely on the national executive to say they are the one actually who does not want to follow the constitutional dictates. So let's have this very clear. SUMA, I listened to Dr. Richard Conteh.
Right.
Is a member of the National Executive Committee. So it's different from the National Executive.
Yeah, but it's an official of the party.
Yes, it's an official, but again, the blame is actually, it's being placed squarely on the National Executive as a result of his own action. So we have to have this distinction.
Are you saying hand on heart that the National Executive Committee had no idea that SUMA was going to court, let alone having instigated him to do so?
So when you say the National Executive Committee also, it's a constellation of other executive hierarchies. So SUMA comes from one pillar, portion to Chapter 3, Article 22(4). That's where the district chairman actually comes in as members of the National Executive Committee. And there are other cadres as well. So I don't know. You would have to speak to Suma if he consulted the entire members of the National Executive Committee. But as I was even shocked, I went to PPRC. There was a day that we had hearing, and then I was told right there that a matter has been actually put before the court. So my initial thinking was that maybe it could be something to do with a matter that happened in PPRC when a member told us, and this is a hierarchy member in the party, he said to me, he said, I'm going to court. He was very angry and he stormed out of the premises of PPRC. So when the issue came out that morning that somebody has been before the court, that was my initial thinking.
Who was that person?
You mean the person that said...
who bolted out, who stormed out of the PPRC in anger?
So I would say Combo is one of them. Okay. So he said, I'm going to go to court. So when that happened, basically, so instantly I was thinking maybe has something, maybe not necessarily him, but something that is connected to that matter. So, but then somebody in PPRC said to me, hang on, it's got nothing to do with them, but a member of the district by the name of Suma, Ali Suma. That was the first time, that actually came to my understanding.
There seems to be a logjam here now.
Yeah.
How do you, as a national executive body, intend to meander your way out of this logjam?
Actually, let me make this clear. I'm not a member of the National Executive.
Well, yeah, you are more or less assistant to the National Secretary.
I came in as a result of the resignation of
he was going to be here, but he fell ill.
Exactly. And I need the public to know this. He was going to be here, but he was hospitalized last night, and I think they just discharged him about an hour ago.
I'm sorry,
so he's trying to catch up. Yeah. So I am not a member of the National Executive. I'm only assisting.
Right.
So. To say there's a disconnect and nobody wants to take responsibility, the facts are there to speak. Everybody has the right to do what they want to do, as so far this constitution, actually what this constitution prescribed. If you have people actually going to PPRC, going to ICB to challenge, if Suma felt the need that he wants to challenge, because when I listened to Dr. Richard Konti, he was talking about, he also has interests. So he could have done as a result of that. It's got nothing to do with the National Executive.
Yeah, but how do you intend to get yourself out of this? I know you say you're not an elected official, even though you've been absorbed. I understand NAC approved your assistant's role to the national, so it gives you some legitimacy. What do you think is the way the party is thinking now to get out of this quagmire? So
when you say the party is a constellation of everybody in the APC, it does not stop at the level of the leadership.
Well, at the leadership level, they've got to find a solution to
it. Because the matter is currently sub judice, so I cannot even talk about it because it's before the courts.
So this matter rumbles on and on and on in courts. You're going to be stagnated. You're sort of like you're going to be just in limbo.
I don't think so, and that is why in the wisdom of PPRC, they've asked the executive to continue until a decision is actually made by the courts. So we are on it. As recently, we actually published a memo to ask district people who want to contest for district position to apply, and that process is ongoing. A lot of things are going at the background, so the concentration is on this, but a lot, I can guarantee a lot is actually happening behind the scene. And I think we have other issues that for me that are far more important at this moment, because one would say internal party position is important, I would say, because this is where you have your executive to put the party in a very strong trajectory for national elections. But there are issues like, let's say, the census. We've had a cartographic census in Sierra Leone. And up to the phase 3, the last time we actually had an interface with Statistics Sierra Leone, they only told us about the results of the first phase. So we've had second phase and third phase. Nobody knows about what's happening.
So we'll talk about Statistics Sierra Leone and the census they plan to hold, sometime soon. But the fact here is we're looking at the internal goings-on, within the APC party itself.
Yeah.
And it seems there is no clear-cut route to getting the party out of these apparent stalemates. That's really what I want to. I'm sure APC members, ordinary members, want to know, because if the party leadership is this entrapped, then even all the other things that the party wants to do, they cannot do, because the legitimacy of the executive is now being questioned by some members, including Richard Konti, who is a very formidable character within the party.
And I want to say something about Richard Konti, basically, because I'm not here to sort of like take away his right to express his opinion. But I would say it's one of those, let's say, towering figures within the party that I can actually, look up to as a mentor, and he contributes a lot in terms of what happens at the background. So, you know, for me, where we are at the moment, it's all this fear to say it seems like the APC, the clouds are falling. But I don't see things like that. This is politics, Umaru Fofana. Politics is a fluid process. The moment you think you are comfortable and the next minute, something dynamic will just happen that, you know, people start questioning your belief to say, we are stable. So this is politics, because the whole thing, it centers around interests where we are. There are lower level elections going on, and you can see the influence between those elections and that of the National Delegates Conference. So everybody is trying to be in a position where they
for advantage.
Exactly. So all of this, I remember, because I am also serving as the current national coordinator for membership. You know, a lot of that was actually thrown at me, because it's a very critical office as well.
It's politics, isn't it?
It's politics.
You're holding yourself out there.
Exactly. So even when you think I'm doing this, sometimes I'll be at the party office up to like 4 a.m. You have to start in the morning again. And when you open your phone, somebody is saying a lot of things about you.
Tell me about
so it's politics. So that's what I'm saying. For me, as members where we are, as much as we're thinking about internal party elections, but the elephant in the room here is a national election. We must not lose focus. Something that's actually happening in Parliament, that itself is very, very important.
Right.
And as I was telling you, also the census, because census is the base. This is where the whole thing starts. I remember when we have the controversial midterm census 2021. So again, something is happening that looks like, you know, the history is about to repeat itself. Because when you have an institution like Statistics that is refusing to put the data which should be for the public consumption, then it tells you something is cooking. So I am calling people, not only Senior Comrade Richard Conteh, but I'm reaching out to every other towering figure within the APC. The country is looking up to the party. Yes, I understand the dynamics internally, but we should now focus the national elections. Right. The other day, we had even the PRO of SLPP talking about an extension. So these are things that we must pay attention, because whoever comes in as a leader, and I'll say this in the APC, if the foundation is destroyed, you will just be there as a poster boy. Because the election will be stolen before 2028.
All right.
That is the calling I'm going to make this night. And I really want our towering figures, especially the intending flaggers, to think about this. Because at the end of the day, it is them that's actually looking seeking for the highest office in the APC. So the box stop at their tables, they have to think about this. You know, there's a lot of disconnect at the moment. We want them to come together so that we can forge ahead as a party.
All right, ABS, thank you very much. That was Abubakar Kagbo, Assistant to the National Secretary General of the All People's Congress Party. Let's join Vanessa Dove Nicol now for some of your questions and comments which have been coming from you. Vanessa should join us very shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Umaru. Let's get on with some of the comments that have been coming through from our viewers. We have some Facebook comments here. The first one is from Jalo Telly Buharia, who asks, stop talking about human capital development. You guys did nothing. No investment in any life of a Sierra Leonean. You guys are damn little streets. Alfred Commander says, before you sign any contract with America, I prefer you sign with Russia. Skinny Mackwell states, we do have critical minerals in our soil, but we have to be very careful when it comes to those minerals because they're expensive. And at the moment, they know we have these minerals. Some private investors will stop at nothing to get them. Shiny money. Alfred Commander expresses, can you please clarify the issue of holding the general and parliamentary elections either in 2028 or 2030, as stated by the PRO of the SLPP? I hope this is also made on record and not a party position. And our last comment from Creole Bobo asks, can you please explain what you mean by the elections taking place in 2030? This is all for the comments. Thank you so much. I'm Vanessa Dovnicole.
Every day, our nation faces questions that demand answers. What is happening in Sierra Leone? What is the context? Who is being heard and who is being ignored? What does it mean for you, your family, and for the future of Sierra Leone? Behind the headlines are the real stories of the everyday people. Some are being heard, others are being ignored. Because a nation deserves to know more than just the headlines. This is where we ask the tough questions and give analysis that liberate. Join us on State of the Nation on AYV across all our platforms. With me, Umaru Fofana.
AYV is your home of credible, factual, and balanced news coverage. We pride ourselves as the nation's most trusted news source. Because of this, our brand is likely to be used to spread fake news. To verify our stories, please check our various social media pages, visit our website on www.ayvnews.com, or send us an email to info@ayvnews.com.
Now we go to sports governance. A couple of weeks ago, we carried an interview with the president of the Sierra Leone Football Association, Babadi Kamara. Among other things, we asked him about the reasons for the sacking of the former Leone Stars coach, Mohamed Kalon. He said that they bordered on his failure to present his credentials and insubordination. We reached out to Kalon for his reaction, but he waved off his right of reply, saying it was pointless for him to respond. We also spoke to Mr. Kamara about the National Sports Authority because we had some concerns about the administration of sports in the country. The NSA came into being in 2019 after the act had been passed by Parliament in 2017 to replace the former National Sports Council Act of 1964. Joining me today to talk about the usefulness or otherwise of the NSA are two men who know about the issue more than most. Ahmed Kanu was Minister of Sport in 2017 when that law was passed, and he worked on the NSA Act. Ibrahim Yelenke is his successor as Minister of Sports. He set up the NSA when he became the minister. He is the current board chairman, in fact, of the National Sports Authority. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Ahmed, I want to start with you. Why did he have to change from the National Sports Council to the National Sports Authority?
Thank you very much, Umar, for having me. We've had these conversations over and again, but I must restate, the National Sports Council Act of 1964 had outlived its usefulness. It could no longer provide for the needs of sport in the country. It was limited in its provision for just 6 sports, whereas we now have over 50 sporting disciplines in the country. The funding mechanism for sports was quite a challenge. And added to that is the simple fact that sport has moved on from an amateur situation to a very professional outfit and an entity a sector that has to contribute to national development. So these are all the more reasons why we were said, okay, let us review the status of sports in the country and come up with a mechanism whereby we'll be able to address the challenges, sports governance, sports administration, and the development of sports.
In your view, has the NSA lived up to that?
I have mixed feelings. Firstly, the envisaged rationale for establishing the National Sports Authority has not been met.
Which is?
The development
of sports generally, yeah.
The rollout plan for the National Sports Authority would not have concluded until sometime in 2027, 2020. It's a 10-year rollout plan. And there is a recurrence of the very challenges that we wanted to address as an entity, as a sector.
Namely, what do you think is still?
Funding challenges, the management of sporting disciplines such that they become much more professionally managed. You still have what Ernest Kuruma termed during his term of office as sonko in sport. We still have difficulties in producing the caliber of athletes, elite athletes that will bring us home medals and represent us adequately as multi-sports events, or generally make sports a sector that contributes to the national development agenda.
So Yalenke, you are the board chair. After you'd served as minister, you've not lived up, according to Mr. Kano.
No, well, I beg to differ. Thank you very much, Umaru, for having me. First and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to my brother here. When I took over as a Minister of Sport, you know, one of the most powerful document that he handed over to me is this NSA Act of 2017. The NSA, I can tell you, Umaru, is a very good document, very beautiful document. But the problem around the NSA, you know, it has the propensity, it has the ability. If only it has the power, what I'm saying here, the capacity. You know, has he mentioned?
The document is pretty good.
No, it's very good.
It's pretty good.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But all boils around funding. Funding.
So meaning we're still where we were.
No, we are not. We are progressing. We are out. We are progressing. Who knows? We are progressing.
Well, he just said what he said.
Look, let me see. 2017 Act. In fact, when we came, I was wondering why it wasn't implemented. I was wondering. The reason why, you know, it wasn't implemented because of the same thing, funding. The NSA is a heavyweight document that if you want to implement that one day to the latter, to the best of what you want, you know, for it to see national development in sport, you know, you have to, you know, get a financial power. Let me tell you something. No, we have started establishing throughout the country. Now people have started sensing the presence of the authority.
By just having offices, or by really investing in the development of football?
This is what I'm saying, Umaru, let me tell you something. We have representative in Kenema, in Boo, in Gambia. You know, we have.
Yeah, but what are they doing? That's the point, isn't it? That's what Mr. Kanu is saying here. That you're not developing sports as you should, or as the document says you should.
No, I don't know. I don't know what he means by we're not developing sport.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm coming.
Before you, yes.
Umaru, I'm coming. Now, he knows, right? Umaru, the problem we have, I can tell you authoritatively, if only attention is being given to the authority, by putting enough financial resources in the authority, believe me, the sky will be our limit.
So what would you do with how much?
This is the reason why we are trying to establish the basket fund. Only that's remedy the situation.
So you are saying to me, Mr. Yalenke, that for now, you are you're dysfunctional because you don't have resources.
No, we are progressing.
Mr. Kano?
We are progressing.
Right. Let me help out. You see, we are saying the same thing in a different way. The NSA is challenged. One of the challenges that the management or the development of sports had was funding. And that challenge is still there. I'll give you a practical example. To create a Ronaldo will take you something like 11 years to create a Ronaldo. Meaning, to create an elite athlete will take you not less than 11 years. 10,000 hours. From 8 to 18 when it turns pro. And that's not on Gary. And that's not on a muddy pitch. That's not on an empty stomach, you name it. It takes a huge lot of money. And so what I envisaged was we should have an independent funding mechanism. That is why if you check the Act, it says there shall be a sports development fund. And that has to be created statutorily, meaning you establish the funding mechanism, the sources of funding, and then the manner in which the sports fund should be superintended. Just so that there's an independence, the NSA will be there, the ministry manages policy, and that policy has activities through the NSA that fits into the policy, and then another independent agency that manages the funding of those activities. But since the establishment of the creation of the Act, the establishment of the fund is still lacking. And we don't come here to continue to complain, Mr. Minister, colleague. We have to take the concrete step that will make the NSA operational, and that's what we have not done. I've said this time and again that until you cannot depend on the CRF for funding until you have an independent sporting mechanism. There is a rapid proliferation of betting companies around. Sports England, the entity that manages the funding of sports in the UK, is largely dependent on betting. Because it's antisocial. Generally, betting is antisocial.
So you punish them for being
the most people it affects are young people. And we have a burgeoning population, about 62% of our population. It affects them. You go out into the streets, a multiple number of people betting, over 60, 70% are young people. And so why don't you tax them? Let us say, for example, Omar, just allow me.
Yeah, quickly.
You want to bet on the day. The betting ticket costs 50 million. Why don't you tax the person plus 50 cents and put it into a development fund?
Of sports, yeah.
Yes. And so you would be generating on the least $1 million a week. So you can now be hitting your chest, browbeating, say, I'll start a stadium in Bo, I'll complete the stadium in Bo, I'll do another one here, there. And so the issue of crying over funding challenge would have been addressed.
Yelenke, what's holding up setting that statutory instrument to be able to establish an independent basket fund?
It's ongoing. As I speak now, tomorrow we have a board meeting, and that's going to be that
It's been 8 years since the NSA was set up.
I know there was a
2019.
I just came in back. I was
also, yeah.
From 2023 I left. I just came in 2024. You see, but as I speak now, I was the very person seated here that passed that document in cabinet. It has already been passed, and it has already been endorsed by cabinet. And now, if there is there was a problem between, I think, I don't know, between the former AD, I think it's Kenneth Brymer, I don't know, with I think the current minister, I don't know. But as I speak now, because when I came in, that's the first attention that I give to that foundation, the basket fund, because I think that serves as an umbrella, to settle all the problems of the associations. Because as I speak now, we have 52 sporting disciplines. And most of those disciplines are suffering. They are not benefiting from the funds, because the funds that are allocating to the ministry, too small. Even him seated there is the president for volleyball. He's been stranded. No money. The money has just been concentrated to football. This is the reason why tomorrow, as I have just said, we have a board meeting, and that one is going to be, we're going to debate on that extensively.
I'll be interested in
now. It is as I speak now, because the last time I spoke with Emmanuel, he said the
former executive director.
Dr. Safa. He told me that the document is with the Solicitor General. I don't know. Well, the minister now has taken up the responsibility to make sure they take that to Parliament. Everything has been done. I know there is a very strong policy behind it, and I tell you, few months now, we start to get some good information about our basket fund.
Okay.
Sport associations become so happy that we no longer rely on that, or how do you call it?
Where are you going to get the funds?
Where
are you going to get the funds from? Including what funds?
No, but that's what Mr. Khan has just explained to you. Let me tell you, the policy goes with so many responsibilities. Let me tell you this. You see, just as he has just spoken, even the pump. pump price
of fuel.
You're
going to tax that again?
Yeah, sure. It has been taxed. Really? Look, you will see the document. Because we have look.
that may have a backlash.
Once it has been ratified by Parliament, I think we are well and good.
Anyway, I'll talk about that when, or if it happens eventually. Mr. Kano, briefly before I ask my next question.
I think my misgivings about the basket fund is the name in itself. You don't just raise funds on occasions. The development of sports is incremental. What happens in Sierra Leone, in my experience, in my understanding, is we are too much in a haste to actualize dreams and a vision. That's the challenge we have. If, for example,
the shortcut.
We do a shortcut. You can't, as I mentioned earlier, you can't create a Ronaldo overnight. So purposefully, I had hoped the NSA would have said, okay, you continue to your business. Let us roll out this plan, starting with the the organization in itself, the capacity of the organization, and then go on to pass on the necessary instruments. He spoke about the basket fund. Yes, a basket fund, agreed. But then if you, in my thinking, right now as I'm seated here, you go to the pump price again, I'm living all the way in number 2, I spend something like 10, 15 later. It will have a backlash, even though it would potentially benefit you. Let's go to some other areas. Let us statutorily say, you bet you pay. Corporate institutions, give us a percentage of your CSR. Because what happens in Sierra Leone, for example, most corporate institutions use their CSR as marketing tools. Nobody understands this. But if you tell them you set aside $100,000, okay, 20,000 goes to the sports fund. These are all things you put in an instrument.
We'll have a look at that instrument eventually.
I wish they had shared it with people so we can have a look at it. Look at the area you are going.
Very soon we'll make it available.
One thing Mr. Kano said, which I want to pick up on, Mr. Yalenke, is he talked about the NSA superintending, for example, funds and all the rest of it. And the NSA stands accused by many people that you are wasting money on yourselves. Whenever a Sierra Leone football or sports team travels abroad, you send too many of the staff to go with them, doing what they say is nothing. For example, in Glasgow recently, you sent 7 members of the NSA who accompanied the team to the Commonwealth Games. Why did they all have to go there?
7 people.
Yes, I know of directors, 6 directors plus the executive director.
Well, that's not to my knowledge, sir.
Well, I know.
I didn't make the trip. I
understand you were on the list. For some reason you didn't go.
Yeah,
not because of funding. So if you had gone, it would have been 8.
Yeah, I didn't go.
Why?
No, I don't know. I don't have any idea of, you know.
You're the board chair. You don't know why the NSA uses government's money on themselves by attending functions.
No, I think all those that went with the delegation are being budgeted for.
Yeah, but why? That's the point. Budgeted for?
Because they have work to do. They have work to go to do there. That's why they went with the delegation.
The executive director, his deputy, and 6 or 5 other directors. What did they go to do there? You should know as board chair.
Yeah, I know. It is to my knowledge that even the executive director and his deputy. But let me say it. The deputy, if you watch the budget, his name is not there. He went on personal matters.
Are you saying it was not considered revenue fund?
No.
But why do other members of NSA have to travel with, even for Leon Stars when they go to play abroad, we see a lot of NSA people attending. To do what?
Well, at
the expense of the state?
No, well, you see, those are all allegations.
No, those are not allegations. I know for a fact
let me see the list. Because the list that I'm privy to are those that have been budgeted for. And those that have been budgeted for have work to do. That's why their names are on the budget. We don't take nobody out there when your name is not on the budget.
Mr. Khan, is it normal?
We don't have that extra money, you know, to spend on people that are their names are not on the budget. Okay. So I don't know where this is coming from. So it's just some misinformation.
So I know that you were not there when the NSA was rolled out, but clearly you have an idea as to what obtains in terms of who gets to attend a function or not. But before you come in there, let me just tell Mr. Yalenke here that those who went to Glasgow from the NSA included the ED, the Deputy ED, Director of Participation, Director of Corporate Affairs, Director of Sporting Associations, Director of Communications, a Finance Officer, and you would have gone if not for what happened. That's my record.
Yeah, sure.
So why did they all go? And
they have work to do. I've just said it here.
Oh my God, is that normal?
They have work to do.
What do you say?
Sporting delegations, particularly where teams travel, you have quite a large contingent depending on your specialty. For example, I've supervised a beach volleyball event in Hamburg, Germany, where the Brazilian delegation, for just 2 athletes, came with over 20 other members of the delegation. Depending on your specialty, you'll have your medic, your masseur, your...
These are not masseurs, these are not medics. I'm not talking about other officials who went.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, so you can have...
Just an you know.
The MSA, the Act did not provide for traveling. There's no policy on traveling, as far as I know, with the enactment of the Act. These are instruments they must have passed whilst I would have left the office. But then that would depend, likely, I should say, on whatever traveling policies they must have adopted.
Well, I'm afraid we'll have to end it here. My producers just told me time is up. We'll have to probably continue this conversation some other time. Many thanks, Mr. Ahmed Kanu, former Minister of Sports, and Mr. Ibrahim Yelenke, another former Minister of Sports and the current chair of the National Sports Authority. And that's how we bring down the curtain on the show for this week. A big thank you to my incredible production team and to you, our audience. Until we meet again next week, good night.